So you finally hit the late game where the super bosses are clapping your cheeks and you're tired of dying. Or perhaps you want to see the highest amount of damage you could do. Either way, you come to the right place because I'll be showing you the best build that I cooked up. So with that out the way, let's get into this, yeah? This will be a hyper carry team where we will focus on one member so they could do the absolute most damage in a single action. The carry will be Strahl. He boasts the second highest attack in the game, and you'll most likely have a ton of his archetypes leveled up for him at this point, versus Bastilio, who is the highest. Strahl does have one advantage over him with his follower rank traits, Undaunted Spirit and Slayer of Humans, to increase his critical hit rate versus humans, while Bass's traits are defensive. You'll want Strahl on his signature archetype, the Royal Warrior. If you're not that far yet, then just use the Samurai. The only advantage Royal Warrior has over a Samurai is the Slash Surge passive. Other than that, they have almost the same stats as you can see. For inherited passives, you'll want Slash Boost from Warrior. This does stack with Slash Surge, since they have different bonuses unlike some of the other passives I'll cover later. Next, you'll want Spirit of Adversity from Pugilist. This will increase your critical hit rate the lower your HP is. Now I know some of you may be wondering why not just use Critical Trade from Tycoon. You actually can, since in my sample size of 100 testing across all critical passive combinations, they were only 10% apart. Spirit of Adversity was the winner however, and it pairs perfectly with Revenge Seeker from Destroyer. We're already going to be low on HP and in the front line, so we may as well take this to further increase our base damage. To finish off, Arcane Unity from Wizard will increase our damage and hit rate of our synthesis skills. These were the 4 that performed the best from my testing, but you can run other combinations if you don't have these yet, or you have your preference. Most bosses will die regardless, since you should be hitting well over 50k every time. As for equipment, you'll want the highest attack power on your weapon. The best being Dynastic Blade, which can only be obtained after unlocking every archetype for Strahl. You do not need to master them. Otherwise, any of these will suffice. For armor, wear anything that'll give you the most attack and luck. For gear, you'll want to do the same. Strength is much more preferred until you get close to hitting the cap of 99. For anyone wondering why Azura's hands aren't being used, it's because it doesn't stack with our weapon. This is just one of the passives I mentioned earlier that unfortunately will not stack. I know it sucks, but we can't use it. I was so stoked when I found this, only to discover my damage didn't increase. Use this until you get the ultimate weapon. For accessories, Gambler's Manual will double your crit damage. This looks better on the loadout since it's legendary, but I actually use Overlord Sash. This doubles your synthesis damage and cost. Either one will net you the same damage in the end, but if your build is still lacking, then this will be more consistent damage until your crit rate gets comfy. Both can be obtained from the Colosseum Gold rank match. The first important support in this hyper carry team will be the protagonist. His exclusive archetype has Hero's Cry, which will always give us 4 turns, so we can completely set up our combo. For passives, you'll want one of the supports with Front Boost from Warlord. This is another passive that unfortunately does not stack the more you have on your party members. Vidyarta or Debilitate is needed. Both come from Trickster. The reason you want this is because the debuff is 20%, and when you get it to stage 3, it's 60%. That means their defense is lowered by 60%, so we could do 60% more damage, especially once you use Concentrate from Samurai, which increases your damage by 60%, and these are multiplicative. The other 2 passives are free for whatever you want. As for equipment, use any weapon. This strategy does not rely on the main character attacking, so their attack power doesn't matter. I use an MP restoring passive, so I can keep using this combo versus the boss gauntlet the later areas have. For armor, you'll want agility on it, so you can go before the carry. The gear piece is a non-negotiable with the Reverend Crown. This gives us a small crystal at the start of each turn. You need this to do the full combo. You get this when you have 80% archetypes unlocked for the protagonist. The accessory here is to fill out any agility shortage you may have. Our second support can be anyone. I use Heizme as he has the highest base speed, so I don't have to have a headache trying to speed tune the other units. We're using him specifically for his high speed to land either debuff you didn't pick with the main character. I have him on Dragoon because he gets a free Unshaken Will for those nasty statuses from bosses who get the first turn. For passives, it should be the debuff I mentioned at the start. Everything else is free for you to choose. Just like the protagonist, we don't care about our attack power, so I use an MP restoring weapon. Armor is to give as much defense to Heizme as he should be faster than your carry. I use the Serene Headband in the gear slot since it synergizes with our naturally high agility to dodge any attack. If you don't like RNG, then use Claw Breakers to cover our slashing weakness. The accessory can be anything. I like the free MP from Full Moon Medal, which you will have when you climb the Coliseum ranks for Strahl's accessory. The final support is Juna. You could use anyone you like here, but I use her because she naturally has the second highest agility out of anyone. Her initial archetype lineage also saves me the headache of finding resources to make Amber Stew. I was originally doing that, but it's tedious, so this fixes the problem. You'll need Persona Master or Royal Masked Dancer for the synthesis skill Masquerade Charge. This will increase the next physical attack by 250%. The only passive she needs is Rebellion from Commander or Adventurous Curiosity if you don't want to constantly select Strahl from Soul Hacker. This will further increase our critical hit chance. Just like the other supports, our attack power doesn't matter, so use whatever. Like Heizme, I'm using this to synergize with our high agility. The armor and gear can be anything. She needs the utilitarian manual, as we will be using her synthesis skill. This will reduce the cost by 1, so it fits perfectly into the combo rotation. You can purchase this from any magic shop after getting Alonzo to Magic Shop Deal Maker. Before we actually get into the fight, we'll need to get to 1 HP. I suggest removing the 2 supports so it's just the MC and Strahl. Swap to Pugilist and go into combat. Keep passing turns with the protagonist, while Strahl hurts himself with the HP costing attacks. Do this until his HP is 1 or he dies. Now that everything's set up, let's go over the combo rotation. Heizme should be first. Use either the debuff or if an enemy has a rare item you want, then steal it. Next should be Juna. Use Masquerade Charge. The MC will be next with Hero's Cry. Use Concentrate on Strahl. Now here's where you either debuff again, or you debuff for the first time. Use the crit buff on Strahl. Protagonist uses his debuff. And now Strahl uses Peerless Stone Cleaver to kill anyone in your way. Now what if the enemy repels slashing? Don't worry, I got you. Swap Strahl to Destroyer. Destroyer has Deadly Erasure, which is the second highest almighty physical skill in the game to bypass those annoying super bosses. For passives, we'll need Concentrate from Samurai, Almighty Boost from Tycoon, and then the same Spirit of Adversity and Arcane Unity. We'll gear him with the same rules as the Royal Warrior. The combo is the exact same with him doing Deadly Erasure instead of Peerless Stone Cleaver. Hopefully you kill any boss in your way, And don't forget to subscribe for more Methaphor Refantazio builds. And if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my last one, where I show you to farm incense for the next guide. Until the next video, I'll see ya.